when they actually showed the train wreck. You've probably seen it when I got creamed on the human Cannonball platform on American Gladiators. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was watching some of your American Gladiators stuff last night, and not just with you, but with other gladiators. You probably took the worst beating of anyone on the human cannonball, without a doubt. You needed plastic surgery, but would that even be
Yeah.
allowed today with the way the world is today? Something so dangerous?
That's a great question. They obviously modified the games after that little incident. If the fans hadn't seen it, basically this person swung down, and you can pick it up on YouTube, but swung down 25 feet in the air, and I was in a 15-foot pedestal. They swung down on a rope and basically tried to kick me off of a little disc that was about 3 feet around. And this guy donkey kicked me so hard that when I hit the pads, I was fine, but my own knee came over and hit me in the head, and I gave myself a concussion and needed plastic surgery. And so, yeah, anymore these days, I don't think they would play with that because of liability and such.
And it was up to the gladiators to protect themselves from the kick with the little martial arts pad. And more often than not, it seemed like the contenders would actually nail someone directly to the body with one of those feet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because, I mean, literally, if somebody just hit you with a stiff breeze going by at that speed, you'd fall off, because they said that if someone hits you straight on, it'd be the same thing as a full dress Harley Davidson hitting you going 5 miles an hour. So you can imagine the power and force of somebody kicking you. I literally, if you look at it and you watch it, I get lifted off my feet by 3 inches before I start going backwards. So it was a shot, man. It rung my bell really well.
And at that time, American Gladiators was getting better ratings than wrestling, from what I understand. Was it a hard tryout process to become a gladiator? I know you were, I think, from the first crop of gladiators.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's funny. It's a funny story. I was sitting on a life cycle spinning, and a guy says, he's looking at a trade paper, and he says, "Hey, Deron, they've got tryouts for this show called American Gladiators, and you might be good for it." And so I said, "All right, why not?" I was just starting my acting career, and I didn't know anything about it. So I went down there. We had an obstacle course, which I smoked the obstacle course, and then you had to do a certain amount of sit-ups in a minute and pull-ups. And then the cool part was they took I guess we were auditioning, you'd call it, and they took us into a room, and they auditioned us, and they said, "Okay, so Deron, your name is going to be Domino, and you're a surfer." I go, "Excuse me?" And they go, "Domino." I said, "Domino's a pizza delivery guy." I said, "Why don't you guys call me Malibu?" And they're like, "All right, cool." So I jumped up on a desk, I crossed my legs, and I'm like, "All right, dude, what's up? Talk to me. I'm your man." And I threw that whole surfer spiel, and they fell out laughing. So that's how I booked a job, just right then and there.
Now, we all know about the groupies in the wrestling business. I could imagine American Gladiators probably had them too. Maybe not necessarily with you, but did you notice? I'm sure you had lots of ladies hitting on you, but how was that scene in American Gladiators? Was it like a rock star type scene?
I'll just give you one story, and I swear it's true. A buddy of mine were walking home from this place called the Sagebrush Cantina, and it's a place where all the hot babes from the literal Malibu beach would go, and they'd have a lot of bikers there. And he and I were walking home, and it was kind of a lone little two-way street, and this girl passes me in a truck, and she was this really smoking hot girl. And she stops and then looks over. She goes, "Oh, you're Malibu." And I go, "Yeah, hey, what's up?" And she goes, "I would do anything to sleep with you." And I started laughing. I said, "Really?" She goes, "I'd do anything." And I said, "Okay, well, get out of your truck, take your clothes off, and crawl across the street naked." And she started doing it. And I'm going, no, forget it, man. I was just kidding. And so I met her at a bar later. We had a couple of drinks. And the funny thing was that at that bar that night, I met my first wife. So it turned out to be quite an evening after all, but I will never forget that as long as I live. That's the power of fame. It's ridiculous. It's just silly, you know. I started off as a model, and I enjoyed modeling for about 2 minutes. And then I decided I don't like doing this anymore. And I always wanted to kind of be an action actor. I've got a background in martial arts and boxing. So I thought, you know what, I'll make the transition. And really funny story was all of a sudden when I booked the American Gladiator show, I also booked the Conan show at Universal Studios. So at one point I was literally filming the American Gladiators on the lower lot. Then I'd run up to the upper lot and play Conan for 2,000 people. And that was like living a dream, man. It was wild. So it was just like magic, a super magic time in my life.
You had a few fan questions wanting to know if you ever dated Lace from American Gladiators.
Lace and I actually became really good friends. I remember at first when we met, you know, we kind of had an eye for each other, but she was dating somebody. And then I got married. So after that, she and I just became good friends. But we always kind of had a little thing for each other. But I love that gal. She's really, really, really cool. But no, nothing ever happened.
And was there ever a contender that kind of got under your skin and you wanted to like lay a beating on legitimate in the show?
That's you just served up a softball there, man. This kid named Billy Werth was on, and Billy Werth was one of the kids in a movie called The Lost Boys. You ever see that movie?
Yes.
The vampire movie with Kiefer Sutherland. He was the really long, dark-haired, really good-looking Italian kid. Well, basically what happened was I had just gotten back from having plastic surgery on my head, and there was an event where we would wrestle in this ring, and basically the contender would try and grab the gladiator and throw him out. And I looked at Billy right before we started, and I said, you know, Billy, I've got plastic surgery on my head. I got these stitches. I don't care what you do. Just don't hit me in the face, please. And the first thing he did was palm me right to my forehead and knocked me off my balance and out of the ring. So there was a next event was called the Powerball game. I don't know if you remember that, but guys would be trying to dump the balls in the cylinders, and the gladiators would try and tackle them and stop them. But so me, Gemini, and Nitro got together, and when I told them what happened, they were saying, okay, they're like, so Deron, you hit Billy and drive him off camera, and once we get him out of camera range, we'll take care of him. So here was beautiful Billy with his long hair, his uniform looking good. I took him off camera. When he came back, his hair was like up in the air. His jersey ripped off his body. His nose was bleeding because when we got him off stage, we just beat the snot out of him. So, yeah, that was a very memorable moment, and I'm sure for him too.
And you mentioned Nitro. I guess over the past several decades, some negative stuff has come out about Nitro. Did you get along well with him overall?
Yeah, you know what? Nitro and I came on the show together, and we actually tried out all the new games and tested the new games together. So we actually hung out. I mean, I went to his house and he introduced me to peanut butter and jelly oatmeal, if you can believe that. And so
Wow.
I enjoyed that with him. We had some laughs. But yeah, he and I was fine. But he, you know, Dan, he's a cocky guy. But he's a great guy, really great guy.
I heard an interview with you saying that American Gladiators once had a show at Madison Square Garden, and I'd never heard that before. Was it normal for you to tour, and what was that like performing in MSG?
Wow, you know what? That was an amazing, amazing time. I guess we had a promoter. He was a rock star promoter, and he had a Gladiator tour, Gladiators Live, that started off in Maine and then hit the venues all the way across America. And one of the venues was Madison Square Garden. And man, I can't even begin to tell you, Devin, how amazing it was. I was down at the bottom of the floor, and you're looking at 20,000 people that are screaming and going crazy. It was amazing. And it was just, I just sat there in awe, and we were all just looking at each other going, wow, this really brought home how popular that show was and how people really just adored the Gladiators. It was amazing. It was just amazing.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.